This Science Summit is geared at how we can bring new scientific innovations to help the UN achieve its sustainable development goals. We picked goal number 1, no poverty, number 3, good health and well-being, and number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutional health. That's looking at direct costs of clinical care and hospitalization, as well as indirect costs of lost work. And I'm going to posit that the cost of less than optimal mental health is so much higher in terms of lost potential. And that if we really optimize people's mental health in a very comprehensive way, the benefit will be much beyond 2.5 trillion or 5 trillion and really unquantifiable. So now we're going to move, Dr. Muktananda is going to give a brief intro to.
Of course, all of these are super critical, super important, and we tend to focus on coping with daily challenges and relationships more often than not when it comes to mental health, because that's what happens on a regular basis. But to emphasize that mental health is not just short-term, but it's also long-term. And part of our presentation today is going to focus on the long-term, right? So there are 3 aspects to mental health. One is treating after the problem has happened. But 2 important parts of it are being preventative and also enhancing mental health. We'll talk about it briefly. Mental health is one of the greatest challenges of our time. Close to 1 billion people are affected worldwide, and this is from 2019. And all of you know that COVID only made this problem much worse. And today's estimates are probably 1/4 to 1/3 higher than what we saw. So psychological and social aspects of mental health, like emotional means, can we handle stress and emotions? Can we handle anxiety? Psychological is, can we change the thoughts to control thoughts? Maybe think of happier things. It's more like positive thinking. And social is, can we manage jobs and relationships? Can we manage the environment around us? To be truly sustainable, which is what this session is about, I think the traditional approaches have to be sustained with holistic approaches, which are not usually identifying the jobs and relationship. Think of it as a spiritual quest, right? Realizing our peak potential. That is really what will unleash the happiness within us. Next slide, please. I just wanted to go through some. Next slide, please. See, powerful cognitions go beyond positive thinking. They go towards transforming our beliefs. Many of us tend to grow up with very limited view of ourselves, not due to our own faults. It's because the world, imagine in a school, a teacher evaluates students. They only have a single way of evaluating students based on their own rubric. If a student doesn't fit into that rubric, then the student is graded low. And then the student grows up thinking that they don't have great potential, although they may be extraordinary in doing certain things that no one else can, right?
As being limited by our humans, but actually liberated by our humanness. So it's a different way of looking at yourself. Next slide. Great. I'm going to now hand it over to Dr. Peter Bloomfield, and he's going to
slide. And this offers thousands of free programs online to the global community. There's a large diverse team of faculty, campuses all over the world, and many millions of people have benefited from systems to use worldwide. And there's more than 16,000 Kailasa ecosystems functioning that provide many services to their members and the communities around them, including Andaran, giving food, growing agriculture, healing service. In that, it goes beyond the mind. So efforts to powerfully address mental health have started to look at a mind-body system. And we'll be talking about it a little bit later about things like the biome and the physical structures of how the mind and body interact and the brain and body interact. And then we're positing that it also can extend to consciousness, and that how we experience our mental health is going to be a reflection of our mind and our body. And our program called Inner Awakening, again, organized by Swamiji and run directly by Swamiji, involved activities like yoga, meditation, initiations, which we're going to talk about what that looks like at the EEG level, a sattvic diet, the science of completion, which we'll talk about as well. And participants' blood were drawn before and after. Some of them would have already been part of this enlightenment ecosystem, would have already known Swamiji, and some of them would have been new. So basically, gene expression change means the DNA may be or may not be, but even if it's the same, the way the genes are being expressed is changing remarkably to tamp down inflammation and to support anti-aging. So you should be less stressed and more young, right? That's what we'd expect at the level of the organism. So based on that research, and this one was studied. The first one was published in Advances in Aging. The follow-up study was published in a journal called the Journal of Stem Cells. And based on the first study, they said, let's look at telomerase activity and let's look at peripheral blood stem cells. Telomerase is an enzyme that works to keep the cell genical, but it was around that time, they measured mitochondrial metabolism through a test called the MTT assay, which is a surrogate for cellular viability, which is specifically a product of mitochondrial metabolism. So mitochondria are the organelles inside the cell that create power for the cell, energy for the cell. And so their metabolism was increased. This is actually not a typo. You see it's 967%. It's not a typo, it's really true. Basically 10-fold increase in mitochondrial metabolism. It looks at mindfulness, which is your ability to be present, right? Everyone is talking about mindfulness and being in the present moment. So we wanted to measure all these things in people before and after the program. Some of the people in the program had already done similar programs and taken the initiations, and some people were new. So it was a combination. It was a convenient sample because it's through an online program. And then we did a paired and unpaired analysis. So here's what we found. So the total score, for US average, total score is around 18. A higher number means more depression, more anxiety, more stress. So you want a low score in this, or better than the US average in terms of anxiety, which again may reflect their previous initiations and their connection with this enlightenment ecosystem and this mind-body approach. But afterwards, even greatly reduced. And stress as well went from 4 to 2 or 5 to 3. Over 14 is stress, and the US average is 8. You can see all these graphs on the left. You can see the line graphs is the parity, and then went up to around 80 afterwards. So 80 is a huge sense of well-being, extremely high sense of well-being. Really, really profound. And you can see again, if you look at the line graph and the bar graphs, everything's just going up. So really a profound sense of well-being from participating in this program, and both statistically significant and clinically significant. The SF36, this is a very complex scale. It is 9 total scores around physical and mental health. Again, the higher is better. We did just a paired analysis for this, and all of them were improved, this lifestyle, which supports the sense of mindfulness. But at the end, it went all the way up to 4.8, 4.65. So a huge jump. The paired analysis just missed statistical significance. The p-value is 0.51. The trend, I think, speaks for itself. But the unpaired analysis was statistically significant. So again, we see an increase in mindfulness. So then the question becomes, what are these programs? What is special frontal lobes meet? Right at the area where the chakra of the third eye, as per Hindu structure, Hindu spiritual anatomy, right where that is, that area would light up in the brain when you would activate his third eye, which I think is really fascinating. And then on EEG, which measures brain activity, they found complete control over brainwave activity. He could just control his brainwaves at will. There was another doctor, a neuroscientist named Akosi. Then this is the one that I think is most fascinating. There's a Dr. William Collins. This was done in 2005 in St. Louis. He's a neurofeedback researcher who was looking at EEG. And he noticed when he got a baseline reading, he kept changing the probes and changing the settings, because he said there's almost no activity on the EEG as baseline. Means when he was sitting there in a calm state, the brain was just completely quiet electrically. There was very little activity, which we will posit will correlate with a low thoughts per second, very little mental activity. An EEG of initiation looks. When a being who has attained this state of consciousness, which I'm calling as a super consciousness, that's a goal of Vedic traditions, yogic traditions, Hinduism, and they transmit it to someone they're healing or a disciple or any other person, be like an initiation. It's putting them in the same brainwave state. That's good. He is doing initiations to his disciples or people visiting his ashram as well. He puts their brain in gamma waves, high amplitude gamma waves, which is a very specific kind of gamma wave that's almost never seen. So real quick primer on brainwaves. Brainwaves is the measurement of the electrical activity in the brain through an EEG, which is like an EKG for the brain, electroencephalogram. You can see delta waves are low very low frequency waves from 0.5 to 4 hertz on the bottom left. This is like when you're in deep, deep restorative sleep, or if you were like in a coma. Theta waves, these are 4 to 8 hertz. These will the raw data and see tiny little, very, very low amplitude up and down high frequency waves that you can't really see with your naked eye, but the computer can calculate them. And they've been shown traditionally in everyone's brain a little bit. When people have a stroke of insight, like a light bulb goes off, there'll be a little flash of gamma activity, but just for a second, and only when that insight strikes, which you can't bank on, right? It's like can also be created through spiritual activities and mind-body interventions. The last group I'll talk about is long-term meditators. These were Tibetan Buddhists that have been meditating for 10 to 20 years, like their whole lifestyle was meditation. Like monks that would meditate for 6 hours a day, or a huge amount of meditation. This came out in 2004 by Dr. Davidson in Wisconsin, a really breakthrough publication. When they would go into a oneness and compassion meditation, they could go into sustained gamma. That's the only other time that can be built in people and built in large groups of people over time. So this is raw data of an EEG of a very high level disciple of Swamiji, and you can see gamma activity is over 30 oscillations between these two lines is 1 second. You can see the whole brain is in gamma. And this person can go on and off at will at any time while they're talking, while they're doing anything. They're really excited about this. I think it has tremendous significance for humanity on many levels. And we're excited to research it further. So we'll be talking a little more at the end. Anyone who's out there who's listening, if you're interested in this space of consciousness and how to recreate it and measure it and study it, please contact us, because this is a field we're excited to dive into. A lot more research has to be done. Real quickly, some lifestyle things. I'm not going to go in detail because I'm over time already. Hindu diaspora, people who have come from Hindu civilizations or backgrounds and spread all over the world, they have extremely low rates of depression, divorce, and really high income, high productivity. And we think it relates to this lifestyle and the residue of this lifestyle in their system. So thank you so much for your listening. I complete for going a little over time. But now
are all filled with anxiety. And this meditation personally has helped me calm myself down in a moment of stress or anxiety, or in a moment of indecision. I don't know what to do, right? And I want to have clarity of mind. Too many thoughts are running in my mind.
I'll just put the whole unclutching in one line. Listen. Decide not to engage or continue in you. Nothing can be. Compare. To the unclutching process. In the initial level, you may be a little deluded here, there. That is pure unclutching. Pure unclutching. Sit straight.
Yeah. One thing I want to say, we're going to give you a few minutes just to go through this unclutching. It's a great experience. I think it's really worth seeing that how simple a process can really bring your stress levels down. So I would really advise you to I'm going to give you a few minutes, play some meditation music. Essentially, when he says disengage from all thought processes, Peter, we're not able to hear the music.
it's playing here. It's just flute-like. You hear that?
Do you want to share?
You able to hear it?
No.
You able to hear it now?
Yes.
Unclutch from your thoughts. Close your eyes and unclutch from your thoughts. And Dr. Sandeep and Dr. Nirmala to take us on to the next session. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Aran Kay. I'm a practicing neurologist in the U.S. In Augusta, Georgia. And I will be sharing a little bit about findings on neuroscience in depression as well. And we have seen that yoga and meditation has a positive effect, but recently we're able to actually look at the brain structure itself and brain functioning and how it actually is affected negatively in depression and positively in yoga and meditation. And then Dr. Pandav will be talking about the role of the gut-brain axis. So it turns out not only the brain is important, can make a huge impact, and it can reduce the costs associated with current treatment model based on medications, therapy, which is expensive, medications have side effects. And so we can go on to the next slide. So many studies have been done on depression, looking actually at patient and feeling pleasure. And so we can go on to the next slide. So not only is the gray matter or the brain cells, are they affected in depression, but also very importantly, the white matter system is affected. The white matter is very important in, this is how different areas of brain communicate. And you can see here, when there's specialized studies done on white matter tracts, these are negatively impacted in depression. And the colored portions of the brain imaging studies show, for example, some brain white matter pathways or tracts which are negatively affected in depression. We can move on to the next slide. So what has been really, in a way, groundbreaking is that hippocampus are very important for memory and handling your stress. These are enhanced in practitioners of yoga. Areas like the insula, superior temporal gyrus, occipital gyrus, and cerebellum are important for emotional awareness, processing of language and speech, as well as empathy. So being able to empathize with others and relate to others, interact with others. All of these areas are very important for that. And these are enhanced with increased different areas of brain that are activated at during certain tasks or mention. and controlling the autonomic nervous system, such as the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, parietal cortex, hippocampus, temporal lobe, anterior cingulate striatum. These are also involved in emotional processing, some of these areas. Very interesting, thicker in various brain regions listed there. These are regions that are important for emotions, decision-making, learning, memory, and also the ability to monitor ourself, to know what's happening within us and our environment, and as well as having self-awareness about fear and anxiety released at the time that we're stressed out. You may have heard of the flight or fight response, and so this is released. And unfortunately, what this does also is this leads to a cascade of other events in the body, including more inflammation, which ends up increasing risk for various health problems that we see today, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. There was a very interesting study they took up people who were depressed and put them.
And then we'll discuss these slides quickly, and then we'll have a very short video and short discussion to follow. Thank you so much, Dr. Pandav.
Hi, this is Dr. Pandav. I practice in the US near Baltimore, and thank you, Dr. Shachi, for the input. Basically, the gut-brain axis is a very important axis. You know, these days there's a buzzword, healthy gut microbiome. So before we talk about that, we should know what gut-brain axis is. This is neurochemicals like serotonin. So these send signal via the vagus nerve to the brain, so reducing the anxiety and depression. So this is one impact. And the second impact it does is that it improves the bowel movements. So basically what it does is, since it is high in fiber, so people get relief from constipation, and so there is less of inflammation in the gut lining. So it reduces all the inflammatory bowel. Are we waiting for the video?
We're waiting for you to quickly go over this slide.
Okay, yeah, so inflammation is higher in some people with depression. Whole food plant-based diet reduces inflammation, antioxidants, phytochemical, and promotes a balanced neurotransmitter system. Elimination of animal food.
They are not going to say, let the whole world be blissful and die. No. They leave so much of suffering and die that gets recorded in that muscle memory and biomemory. When you eat that, you will fall into depression for a small reason. Your husband late from the office for 5 minutes is enough to make him as a late husband. Understand? No, for very small reason.
Mental health. So there's various lifestyle practices in Hinduism, which Swamiji is reviving and promoting. And he's unique in promoting some of these lifestyles, such as Niraharsamima, and the importance of certain herbs or aushadha.
But through Swamiji, I came to know about Niraharsamima, which is really a step above that. So essentially, it comprises of taking a liquid diet for almost like 3 weeks. And I was amazed by its benefits. What I realized was, in order to digest the solid food, it uses body's energy. But when you are taking to a deep level, in the sense that you're not doing meditation, it is kind of happening to you. So it's a different state to be in. And I found this to be amazingly powerful technique. I think, Dr. Shachi, you may have also
quieter. People around me noticed. I mean, even your skin will start to glow. You will even appear younger. People would comment on that, wonder what I was doing. And so I definitely also experienced those similar kinds of benefits, when
I was doing it, I felt like saying, darn it, I should have done it earlier.
Yes.
After that, it's completely gone. I don't take any antihistamines. I'm completely, and after that I did 2 times of Rahara. Even with the first time, it disappeared. I thought this is you know.
You guys for this discussion. We could discuss so much longer. We've met some time constraints, so we're going to move on to the next session, which is a pranayama breathing exercise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stress. So it's a very easy technique. Sit up straight and roll your tongue. And roll your tongue and just put it outside of your mouth just a little bit so that your tongue is sticking out like this. And then deeply inhale through your tongue. And you will actually feel it in your chest, in the middle of your chest. If you don't feel it, like try breathing in a little bit more deeper. Continue doing this. And breathing out, that's one cycle. Do it 21 times. It's very powerful. The next pranayama I'm going to teach you is called anapana. It's very simple. It's breathing in through one nostril and breathing out through the other nostril. So you start off 7, 8, 9, 10. Now breathe in through your right nostril again. And breathe out for the count of 10 through your left nostril. The last technique is called Brahmari Pranayama. It's an amazing technique to clear your mind of anxiety-inducing thoughts. And Swamiji has given this reference. And this reference, you can go search for it online. It's a humming meditation. Essentially, what you do is you hum. And you will start feeling in the center of your forehead, you will start feeling a constant buzz. And that buzz will start clearing out all the thoughts in your mind. Right? It's a very beautiful technique that just flushes negative thoughts and anxiety from your head and just fills it with the hum that is pure thought, nothing else, right? Let's try doing this for a few times. Okay, relax. Done together, they actually have very powerful medicinal, sorry, I won't say medicinal, it's a very powerful effect in cooling, right? So we're going to talk about kriyas at the end of this whole session. Wait till then to hear a little bit more, but you can get an everyday companion, which is easily available at their fingertips to handle emotions on a daily basis, but maybe even answer bigger spiritual questions, right? And one thing that everybody or most people have at their fingertips are low-cost phones nowadays. Address a few challenges like address privacy, make trust and safety front and center. These are challenges that we are working through today. But if we overcome these challenges, using AI at scale for helping people with mental health is a very powerful solution. With that, I want to say a little bit about Nityananda.ai. This is actually a solution that Nityananda Kailasa has developed as a scalable solution for people. Demo because it can take time. But here I'm going to show you a demo. This is like a video that I captured on my real demo. I captured a video. For example, I'm asking the question whenever I even stay at work a little bit late, I notice that I'm very anxious about that wholeness perspective. You can actually handle the situation in a much better way. So it's a very powerful message that it helps you understand that you are a whole and you can't divide yourself into different personalities. Can we press play again? The next question is about, yeah, I'm just highlighting the different areas. The next question about someone saying, my sister and I are grown up. Whenever I ask my sister, Yeah. So the next example is about, oops, we went too far. Yeah, this next section is about asking for yoga and meditation techniques for de-stressing, and it chooses techniques from scriptures and shares them with you. Anyway, that's the quick demo. Let's move on to the next section. Okay, now I hand it over to Dr.
The National Institute of Mental Health here shows the incidence of mental illness among women. 1 in 5 women experience a mental health issue every year. Women are diagnosed with anxiety and depression twice as men. 25 points of social media on beauty concepts and appearance leads to eating disorder, low self-esteem, self-denial, and self-hatred. Discrimination and gender inequality, experience of sexism, workplace discrimination, and the gender pay gap can lead to chronic stress. Relationship, and many patients either they use medications, cannot be compliant and quit, or they become more and more dependent. Treatments are not that effective. Let's learn from Kailasa a holistic approach with proven results by empowering women. So when we go into the depth of the empowering methods before, so let's read this very powerful verses from Manuvati Dharma Shastra. Ecosystem or family or a team or a community together. So women have their own intuitive intelligence in the field of keeping something very stable, keeping it together and making it functional. So Hinduism creates an ecosystem for the legislative chambers, put their views on forefront. So women hold 80% of leadership positions in Kailasa. While Kailasa's policy stipulates that 33% legislative positions should be held by women, currently, women make up 90% of the governance in Kailasa. So when we empower women, they can only in the economic society, but also in the spiritual and religious realm. The Sannyas Sampradaya, the monastic male child, and women to empower them. And Nityananda's Women Foundation, it helps Indigenous women to become again to get financial freedom and emotional support. EN Pregnancy is a great program where it supports pregnant women for having a painless delivery and a blissful birthing
system. And it has nothing to do with your gender. That's the important thing. The gender, male or being female, nothing to do with it. It is something to do with your inner quality. And next word, awaken. Only the feminine energy, sacred feminine, need to be awakened. You already have too much masculine. The whole world is suffering with too much masculine energy. If at all politics can be handed over to women, so much good will have happened to the human society, human civilization. Unfortunately, see, if it was handed over to women, it would have been completely family-based civilization. So naturally, everybody would have had their basic needs.
Multi-dimensional level, and Kailasa is a model infrastructure, not only empowering women at all levels and bringing the best within them, like leadership, stability, powerfulness, and divinity. And from my personal experience, I have like 14 years of medical education and practicing for 25 years of women care and being there in women during their most sensitive time, pregnancy, delivery, taking care of all age group women. I want to share only after being part of the Kailasa multi-nights, and I do pray to my Parashakti and Divine Mother Energy to bless all women all over the world with excellent health and bliss, and bless me with the wisdom and energy to serve women always. And Swamiji to bless every woman all over the world. And here, the science of completion, it's one of the solutions for all mental disorders. It's a meditation technique based on the science of enlightenment revealed and taught by His Divine Holiness. And it works, prevent and treat all kinds of mental disorders, not only for women, it's for everyone. It relieves unresolved
Many things coming out. And powerlessness. No, this is not for me. First of all, this may not be true. Second, no, this is, even if it is true, not for me. No, this may be true for the people who don't have to work for their food and paying the bills. No, maybe it is true for the people who are sitting in Kailasa and enjoying the happy, free life. All kinds of thought currents will come inside. Sit, have a little patience, listen to yourself and start pinning down precisely what all resistance mirror and do completion. Understand? This is the initiation I am giving to all of you. Sit in front of mirror, pen down all these patterns and fears and everything. Intensely chant Mahavagya and see the mirror and start reliving, chanting Mahavagya. And remember this powerful cognition, today's cognition. Pen down all the incompletions, fears, anger, guilt, impossibility appearing.
Now we invite Dr. Patel to come talk about children and mental health issues.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Kailasa Patel. I'm a psychiatrist practicing in California. So, as adult and women, children also have unique challenges for mental health. And we have the next slide. So I have here some of the personal and social changes, adversities such as poverty, abuse, exposure to violence, pressure to conform with peers, exploration of identity, and so forth. So can we have next slide? So based on this alarming number, we know that conventional approach have not been enough to address and be creative, and not force children into strict curriculum, and nor evaluate them based on narrow rubrics. This mind-body consciousness-based education empowers children and helps them feel power. Copy phase, students are first asked to copy 12 images of various complexity. This copy phase reflects the student's visual motor intelligence and maturity. In second phase, recall phase, which is recall phase, students need to remember all the images of previously drawn without seeing them. The recall phase reflects students' visual recall intelligence. And the tests were performed on 75 students, and the results showed an average percentile rank of 95.7 for copy phase and 89.91 for recall phase. So it shows very impressive numbers. Next category, intellectual maturity compared to exact age. And average intellectual age was 2.7 years ahead of chronological age. 83% of students were 1 to 6 years ahead of actual age, and 53% students were to change to integrate such education into conventional curriculum. And of course, as I said, more studies are needed for this evidence, but policies to change and integrate this education into conventional curriculum would be a good, sustainable development. Okay, I hand over to next speaker.
Really, many of their goals would be achieved by adopting this lifestyle. At NHU, the Nishnanda Hindu University, we aspire to be a world's leader in the study of mental health, of enlightenment, and of superconsciousness. And we very sincerely and formally and informally invite anyone who's interested in researching this possibility, this phenomena that I think is available here in ways it's not been described otherwise. We invite you to collaborate with us to participate in research. Of course, we would appreciate funding. As you can see, there's been remarkable research finding. So we invite policymakers, we invite academicians, and other politicians, anyone, to contact us to see how we can bring this to the world to attain and achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals and bring higher possibilities of mental health and overall life and potential to the global community. So with that, thank you so much for everyone who came. If you're able to stay, we invite you to stay for our kriya, which will be led by Dr. Mukta Ananda.
In this energy circulation, energy flow, if there is a disturbance in some part, for example, liver, kidney, or heart, intestine, at some part, if there is a disturbance.
For Kundalini energy, in the Vedic tradition, the Kundalini energy is the innate, immense potential energy in every individual that helps complete the energy circuit. How does Kundalini energy reach different parts of the body? Let us take the example of a water tank. A water tank is a structure which stores to remove the energy blockage and restore the energy flow. When the body is aligned in certain postures during kriyas, the energy block is removed. Once the block is removed, the kumbhaka pumps in the Kundalini energy, just as the water gets pumped in to the pipeline once the block is removed. When the energy flow is re-established, energy starts flowing and the disease is healed.
Now, on which kriya works?
Kriyas are a unique combination of asanas, pranayamas, and kumbhakas, wherein they are more effective and the individual asanas and pranayamas.
Even for few seconds, if the energy route is aligned and energy is pumped, you are out of the disease. You are out of the disorder. These kriyas are my unique contributions to the world. The kriyas have 7 ingredients. 1, yoga. 2nd, kumbhaka, pranayamas. 3rd, visualizations. 4th, verbalization, means chanting of some mantra internally. Yogic body. I am using all the 7 ingredients to create yogic body for you.
That's one thing we learned. We're going to do that first. Then the second step is you sit in a special posture. Do we have the picture of that posture? There is a posture. I shared a picture yesterday. That's the posture. Peter will show the picture. That's the second step. In that posture, you just hum intensely. And the humming is something I already shared with you before. And so the third step is lie down, and in the bliss of the hum, the humming creates in close to your chest, and then do intense humming. That's for 7 minutes. And then finally, we leave you with the lying down and unclutching. And typically, this combination of these 3, doing this before you go to sleep, is very, very powerful. It will de-stress your entire body very beautifully. Okay, let's start with Nadi Shodhana. If Peter, you could play the music. Humming coolness all over your body. And uncut from all thoughts. When you unclutch from your thoughts, open your eyes slowly and pause the music feeling. It's very powerful not only in de-stressing but also in performing to your life's best. Great. Thank you all. I really appreciate all of you for coming. Peter, I hand it over to you to wrap up.
Yes, thank you so much, Mukta, for your beautiful job, and thank you to everyone who made it this long. We really appreciate you coming. And again, just a last invitation.